I was like, oh my gosh, how old are you? Because I actually want to be friends with you. Cut to me finding out, I don't know, she was probably like 14 or something at the time. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and the second part of a two-part installment I call Celebrities I Interviewed Before They Were Famous, when I could still get an interview with them. I'm honestly just kidding. This was a really fun video to make, and if you saw part one, you know that it just got to be very, very long, so I thought, what the heck, more is more. Let's make this not just one video, but two videos. If you guys like these videos and like my channel, please subscribe, click the bell, and get the notifications so I can share more embarrassing stories with you all the time. Obviously, I have to give a shout out to Ariana Grande, who, as you guys know, if you have watched any of my similar story time videos, my best and worst celebrity encounter videos, we had a super long relationship with Ariana from the time she started on TV, from the time that she came to Hollywood, as they say. And at the time, she was not famous by the standards that she is now. She did, however, I have to point out, have a decent amount of Broadway fame because that is where she had come from. So I think in the Broadway community at the time, she was pretty well known because she was in a very successful Broadway show. But when she came out to LA to get more into TV acting, honestly, no one knew who she was at the time. And I gotta say that she was just like the sweetest girl ever. When she would come to Clever, like everyone I've mentioned, no entourage, no makeup artists, no glam people. In fact, I do recall she gave me and Dana the first tips I had ever received about self-tanner. I didn't even know self-tanning was a thing. And I remember Ariana came in once for an interview and I was like, if you just come back from vacation, you look like bronze to perfection. And she was like, no, absolutely not. Have you ever heard of X, Y, and Z product? Told me her whole entire regime, which I went on to adopt as a part of my weekly process. So I have her to thank for any self-tan that I have, but she never had an entourage with her. It was just always her mom, maybe one other person, but I don't even really think so. And they were always very warm and kind and lovely. And again, you guys, I really do think that is why these people are successful. And I think a lot of these people, when they go on to become really famous, get flack for, you know, being divas or this or that. And I can tell you from having known and met all of these people from the time they were very young, I just don't think it holds up. I think if you're nice to someone, they're gonna be nice to you. Just throwing that out there. Up next, Danielle Campbell. Interestingly, I did get a lot of requests for me to talk about Danielle Campbell, who most recently, from what I recall, was one of the stars of, was it the Vampire Diaries or was it the spinoff of the Vampire Diaries? Why am I blanking? I loved both of those shows. She might have been on the originals. She was on the originals. So I love Danielle Campbell. I think she is such a sweetheart. And fun fact, we actually interviewed her when she was probably 14 or 15 years old for a film she did called Disney's Prom. You guys, we were like obsessed with this film. We interviewed the entire cast. I feel like we might have even gone to the set. That's how like deeply invested and involved we were in this movie. But Danielle Campbell was one of the stars of the film and we had her come into Clever and she was literally a child. She did not even live in LA at the time. I think she was living in Chicago, I believe, which is where she was from, with her family, and she was so sweet in like a very genuine way and so strikingly beautiful. Her eyes are so beautiful and she was just very down to earth. Then time goes on and I remember going to the set of the originals in Atlanta and seeing her and we just had like the best time catching up. It was so awesome to see her. I feel like I even saw her at Coachella once. She then went on to get a lot of fame because of her personal life and the relationship that she had with one of the lads from One Direction. But even then, when I would see her, interview her, she was just super, super down to earth. Not a thing had changed. Again, never had an entourage, never had a bunch of people looming. It was just a very normal situation because I can tell you, as an entertainment reporter, there's nothing more weird than when you're interviewing someone and like 75 people are staring at you. I'm like, what are all these people's jobs? How are we supposed to have an organic moment and like a good interview when like there's like so many people staring at us? It's like we're in front of a classroom or something. That's neither here nor there. That's just a little rant for another time. But Danielle Campbell, what a gem. I'm just so excited to see what the future holds for her. Oh my gosh, can we please talk about my queen, Debby Ryan? If you guys know me, if you have followed me at all, you know that Debby Ryan is probably one of my favorite celebrities. I interviewed her for the first time. It was actually the first time we ever covered a red carpet at Clever, and it was Kyle Massey's 16th birthday party. I didn't even have a mic flag. I just had this like blank microphone. It was attached to the camera, so like I was like tripping over it. It was a huge mess. But I do remember standing on the red carpet and like waiting for everyone to come, and I kind of knew who most of the people were, but then this girl rolls up and she has like the most wild hair I've ever seen. I think she must have come from set, and she just had the most infectious, vivacious energy I have ever experienced. And I was like, oh my gosh, how old are you? Because I actually want to be friends with you. Cut to me finding out, I don't know, she was probably like 14 or something at the time. She was super young. But that was the first time I ever met her, and she was just one of my favorite people. Over the years, as time went on, we interviewed her so many times, and every time I'd go to sit down with her, it didn't feel like work. It always felt like I was just hanging out with my friend, catching up. It was so fun to see her land her very own show on Disney Channel. Then, fun fact, me and Dana and Lisa actually went to Debbie's 18th birthday party, which was a really good time. And I remember we were like the most out of control people there. We were not drinking at all. I don't even think there was alcohol there because it was an 18th birthday party, but we were just unhinged, like acting crazy. Somebody was making Debbie this birthday video, and we decided we should like rap or do something weird. I don't know what it was, but it was very, very strange. Then to see her go on and find her love and get engaged and have such success on her new show, Insatiable, I think is so awesome. You know, she's always had a great support system. Her mom has always been by her side as much as possible. She's always had a great team of people that work for her. And I think most importantly, people go through stuff, right? But like she's always had a very strong sense of who she is. And I've never really seen her try to be anybody except herself. And I think that's really commendable, especially considering the fact that she pretty much grew up in the limelight. I just think that she will have all the success that she wants. And more importantly, I think she's a great person, and I'm excited to see what happens like in her personal life. And I just hope that she's thriving. We have to talk about a few people that were legitimately like in elementary school when we first interviewed them, specifically Payton List. Payton List is like a total bombshell. Super hottie now, so successful, still so kind. Like I love her and her family so much. They were just always so nice to us. The first time we interviewed her, she was definitely in elementary school. She definitely was missing some teeth because she was so little. She was either in the movie 27 Dresses or she was promoting Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but she was one of the first people we ever had come into the Clever studio. She was so cute, sweet smile, so friendly. Also, all of these people who were kids when we were interviewing them, especially the Payton List and the Bailey Madisons, so much more significantly intelligent than I was at the time or am now. You could just tell that they were already geniuses, but in a very modest and humble way. Payton is also one who, I don't think she lived in LA at the time. I think her family was actually located in New York, but her parents, either her mom or her dad, would always be with her. They were just like the kindest, most down-to-earth people, always very grateful that we were, you know, having her in for an interview or whatnot. And then to see her go on and just like do so many things. Oh my gosh, she has done so much. She is like just so stunningly beautiful, but I think what is important for people to know is that she is such a good person inside. She's such a sweet person, and that's not changed. And I think, again, she's grown up in the limelight, and that is no easy feat. And I think that's like the biggest accomplishment for a lot of these people. And I can't wait to see what she does next, because she's done with the Disney Channel, or so it seems. And I'm just like super excited for her future, because I think it's going to be very bright. I am down to the final two. This little twosome that I'm going to talk about right now, full disclosure, they were already actually very famous, but they were so young at the time, and they've gone on to become even more famous. I just feel like I have to give them a shout out. It is the Sprouse twins. Dylan and Cole Sprouse. I also interviewed them at Kyle Massey's 16th birthday. What a great time that was. It was so star-packed. So I interviewed the Sprouse twins, and they were just like pounding sodas. When you watch the interview, you can tell that they're already fully themselves, like in their personalities, full of humor and very smart and very silly and very confident. And I definitely knew who they were, but not as much as I probably should have at the time. It's just crazy to see like how incredibly famous they have become now. But way back then, they were just like really fun kids. It was fun to talk to them. They were already famous, they did not have to talk to me. But my takeaway from that experience was that it was just like two silly teenage boys that I was talking to. They were not rude. They were really funny, actually. Fast forward many years, I was on the red carpet at Comic-Con for Riverdale when who should steal my cell phone and take a bunch of selfies but Cole Sprouse. So definitely things have not changed. That same personality is there, and that's what I love to see when people don't change, that fame does not change these people. We have made it. We are at the end of this absolutely epic list. I am like fully sweating because I just feel so many things going through all these crazy memories of stuff that's happened. But the final person on this list is little teeny weeny baby Cody Simpson. So we first met Cody Simpson. I think he had probably just stepped off the plane from Australia, quite literally. No one knew who he was except for the fact that he had done this song with Flo Rida called Ay 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 Yi. It was actually a huge song at the time, and everybody was like, who is this little guy, this cute little kid with a full mouth of braces and a swoopty-doopty hairstyle like Justin Bieber. In fact, he was getting a lot of comparisons to Justin Bieber at the time because that was when Justin Bieber was like
the biggest thing on the planet.
So Cody Simpson had signed a record deal with Atlantic Records, and they were like, oh, we have this new guy that we'll bring into the studio, whatever. And we were like, okay, cool. He shows up, you guys. Like I said, this is 2010, so what would he have been, like 12, 13? I honestly have no idea, but he was incredibly young. He shows up with, I think, his dad, maybe his mom and dad, but I think it was just his dad because his dad would always like tune his guitars and like help him set up. It was so freaking cute. And then he always also brought Allie Simpson and then little teeny weeny baby Tom Simpson. So you guys know Allie because Allie has been in the limelight a lot over the years, working on her own projects and also just going out to a lot of events to support Cody because they're very close in age. But they have this brother Tom who's like way younger, and I'm not kidding you guys. I think he was like 3 or 4 at the time. He was so little and so cute, and it was just like so fun to have the whole family there. It was like an experience. So Cody sat down, we did an interview with him. He also performed. The really cute thing too, like I kind of touched upon, was the fact that his dad would always help him with his equipment because he was such a, he was such a young kid. He would like tune the guitars and make sure everything was all set. You know, his brother and sister would just be like off to the side kind of playing because they were very little children. And I was like, oh, this is a cute kid, whatever. And then he would start performing and singing and we would be like, this kid is actually really talented. So over the years, I swear to you, Cody Simpson came to the Clever TV studio like 100 times. That's actually what it felt like because we would be like, oh, he has a new song out, he should pop in. We had that kind of relationship with him and his team where ultimately, even though he was like getting super famous, we just had this like rapport with him where no one really even needed to come with him because they knew that we were gonna like take good care of him. And I remember one time him and his friend were there and he was like, oh, I have this other friend that's gonna like show up, she'll be here soon, like is that cool? And we were like, yeah, cool, like Cody's friend is coming to the studio, that's awesome. And she showed up and I was like, oh my gosh, like she is gorgeous. And she was just really sweet. She was sitting in the corner just like waiting for him to be done, and she's like, oh, I'll just be here like kind of out of the way. Gigi Hadid, can you believe it? Crazy. I actually forgot they ever dated, but I just remember being like, oh my gosh, what a gorgeous sweet girl. There you go. Before she was famous too, so I guess now she's on the list as well. But she was probably 18 or 19 at the time. She was just starting her modeling career. This is like before she was big on social media, before she was involved with Victoria's Secret, before she was doing like anything. And Cody was definitely much more in the limelight at that point. Flash forward now, Cody's taken a totally different approach to his music that I feel like is a lot more organic to him. He is like so talented. He's such an amazing guitarist and musician. I'm really happy for him that he's able to do what he wants now, which includes having a love affair with Miley Cyrus, which I'm a huge fan of as well. I only wish I knew Miley before she was famous, but I did not. Anywho, gotta say, Cody and his family have always been just the sweetest people. Yet again, I think that's a big part of the secret sauce, whether it's your family or your team or your friends that you have around you. That is like everything, especially in this weird fame beast, I think can really do a lot to people. Funny story, I was actually in Australia years later after meeting Cody, and like Cody was famous and Allie was famous and everybody was really well known. And I was leaving my hotel in Australia and I was getting in a taxi. As I was getting in my taxi, the people who were getting out of it was Cody Cody's mom and his sister, and I was like, hey, what are you guys doing here? And then I was like, oh yeah, you guys are from Australia. It makes sense that you're here. I don't know why I'm here. And they were there for the Kids' Choice Awards. Anyways, moral of the story of all of these stories of people before they were famous is that yes, it is possible to not change and be a good person when you start and a good person when you achieve crazy, crazy success. And I think there is a world in which you can be super confident and intelligent and sure of yourself, but also like humble and kind. You know what I mean? Before this turns into a TED Talk, I'm dying to hear from you guys. Which of these stories was most surprising to you? And what kind of video do you want to see next? Do you guys like these videos? Because it seemed like in the first two I made, you guys were really, really into it. But yeah, this is something that just is really easy to do and entertain you with during this quarantine lifestyle. And I hope that you guys subscribe if you want more and share this with your friends. I gotta go wipe off my sweat now. It's like really out of control. Love you guys. Bye.